don't know how many times I have to say it. It's Thursday. Anything can happen. Oh my goodness. Okay, so hi, welcome to the stream. We did not have the stream launch, so for those of you who saw it, well, it was a little throwback, and apparently I went to pull up my reference photo, and I did something, and the computer didn't like it, and apparently somehow I clicked something and it made it stop streaming. So there's that. I don't know what I did, but we're here. We're here now. Everything's fine. We're all fine here. Yeah. Okay. Let me once again try to get my other reference photo up. There we go, without causing an issue. Okay. So welcome back. Everything is good. Everything is good. It was just weird. Okay. All right. We're back on. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm going to give a minute for anybody that was there to come back in. I messed it up somehow, but I'm still seeing the pop out. I didn't have to re-pop out the chat. I think it's all... Maybe I do. Hold on. I don't think I have my chat showing up. Just a second. You never know what's going to happen on Thursday. I say it all the time. It's chaos. When you go live, you just have to be ready for the unexpected and just roll with it. It's all good. It's all fine. We're all fine here. Okay. There. Yeah. I don't know how it did it. I pulled it up, and when I clicked, it somehow, it must have double clicked and said to end the stream because the window I was clicking disappeared. So yeah, there's that. So anyways, oh, thanks, Tara. I got a free moment today, so it's down and crazy and curly and wild, and I think for fall we're gonna lighten it up. We're gonna lighten it up and bring out the red even more, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Thank you. Dolphin says, no matter what, your hair looks fabulous. All right, I feel fabulous. It's a good day. It's a good day because we're going to get to paint. I'm like so excited. I got some new things into the studio. And if you remember last week, I shared with you that it was the Zoom Studio Hangout. And I was going to be, yes, we're back. Welcome back, Rob. We're back. So it was the Zoom Studio Hangout. Oh, thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you. I wasn't even thinking about that because, you know, the links that I posted on, if you can go to Discord and just drop that in the announcements on my Discord server too, Joseph, that would be like super great. And just tag at everyone so that they'll know we had a problem and the stream is now here. Excuse me. Oh yeah, new thumbs up needs to, hit that thumbs up button if you have found the new stream and you're happy to be here. I'm happy that you're here. Okay, so I shared with you that last week we had the Zoom Studio Hangout with the studio tier from Patreon and here on YouTube for YouTube members. And I said we were going to be creating sketchbook and invited all of you to try the, I have a 7-day free trial that you could have tried and come and joined us. And let me just share what you missed out on. This little beauty is the sketchbook that I made. And it's all sewn. It has 1, 2, 3, 6 signatures in it. It is, if you're someone who paints front and back, it has, okay, hold on. Each signature is 6 times 8, 48 pages. So yeah, not bad. That was my very first sewn sketchbook. So I will show it to you again when we go down to the desk view, so you can get a better look, because I know that the lighting right now, and this is black, so I use black book boards, and these are an 80 point, and it was a lot of fun. I had a blast. I did a Coptic stitch, a multi-needle Coptic stitch to sew mine. Look at that. It was my, like I said, it was my very first sewn sketchbook, and I'm pretty proud of the way it came out. And now I am hooked. I am so hooked. I was talking, I have a group chat with, there's a small group of YouTubers here in Maine. I'm sure that you guys know some of them, and one is new. I don't have links in the description, but if you look up, well, you guys know Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, and you know Shanna, who stops by here every now and then, Caution Artist at Play. But then there's Karen, Karen Clark, no relation as far as I know to this Clark. But Karen Clark Creations is a brand new channel here on YouTube. And if you all haven't seen her yet, if you like Friends, the TV show Friends, I encourage you to stop by her channel and show her some love and tell her that I sent you. Drop her a comment. She created her very own sketchbook. And in her first episode, she makes her sketchbook. And then what she's doing is, this is her, it's called her Friends sketchbook. She's rewatching the entire series of Friends. And every episode, so for every episode, she does a page in, or an entry, if you would. Some, I think, share a page, but from the current, whatever that episode is. So if you love Friends, I think the show was great. I definitely check it out. Karen Clark Creations. So at Karen Clark Creations here on YouTube. And again, drop her a comment and tell her Angela sent you, and she's wonderful. So, excuse me, we have a group chat that's the four of us, and both of them, her and Lindsay, had put out how to make a sketchbook, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I did, and I did it with patrons during the studio hangout, and I am hooked. I am like addicted. I can't wait to make so many more. I am like so thrilled to make them. I don't know that I'll be buying them much anymore, because now that I can make them with whatever paper I want in whatever size, and I already have, look at this, to show you how much I've been bit by the bug. I have these already cut up. I'm getting ready to make one. Let me see if I can move it over. You can see one that's going to be about this size. One that's going to be about this size, so a little square. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do this one tall or if I'm going to do it panoramic. I'm thinking about, we were just talking about panoramic ones in our chat today, because Lindsay was talking about making a panoramic, and I might go ahead and give that a try, because that's a pretty decent size. It is 5 by 7. So that would be 5 by like 14, roughly, for panoramic. And yeah, I can't wait. We're all getting together Saturday. We get together every once in a while, and we're getting together Saturday to go out plein air painting on location here in Maine, and I'm thrilled. So that takes me to what we're going to see when we drop down to the desk, because it just got some new supplies in, and some of them are for this weekend's trip, which is, I'm sharing all of this with you to tell you why I got these supplies in, because like I needed more supplies in the studio, like I need another hole in my head. So, okay. YouTube played a video in the middle of my live. Did they drop okay, so here's the thing. If you guys, please let me know if you get ads during the live stream, because I had clicked something to, when I started the stream, I clicked something that I thought I was exiting off of or exiting out of, and I think I told YouTube they could show you an ad. This is not something that will happen. It might happen in today's stream, but as soon as I can find where it is to shut it off, it won't happen going forward. So just bear with me during this stream. If you are shown an ad or two, please go ahead and drop me a comment and let me know when you get an ad, because I want to know how many ads are they pushing to you, because I usually have to go back in when a stream's done and it goes to replay. YouTube will auto-populate ads on my channel, and they will auto-populate ads into that replay. And I've had to go in and delete and remove so many before, because they had like an ad showing up like within every 5 minutes. And I don't know about you, but me, we're going to go ahead and fully curse here. That would piss me off if I was watching that on YouTube and it was like an ad. And I'm like, no, this is not happening. Not happening here. So Yeah, please just let me know if you get him, that it happens. Okay. So a non-skippable one. So I hope that if it gives you that, it doesn't cut out part of the stream and it brings you back to whatever we're talking about. I don't even know how they work on a live stream. So there's that. Okay. Ready to see the desk? Because we have a lot to paint today. I am so excited. I shared... Oh, I didn't share a link to that. I am going to pop it in... let's see. Yep, copying it right now. Copy. I'm popping it in the live chat. After the stream for the replay, I will have this pasted in the description on Patreon. Excuse me. You do not have to be a member to get it. I have the line art for what we're painting. I also have the see, and it doesn't tell me when it's showing an ad either, so I would know to like pause in what I'm talking about. But then some of you don't get ads, so we would just be like, we're just waiting for everybody else to finish their advertisement and then we'll get back to what we're doing. I don't want that. I don't want that happening. So I will be changing that as soon as I can figure out where it is. Okay. Yeah. I'm just checking the chat. I'm going to check real quick before we go to the desk and I show you what we have. But what I was saying is you can get that for free from Patreon, the line art for what we're painting today, as well as the 2 reference photos. We may go fully to the desk because I may have to use my inhaler because I already feel I cannot breathe. So if you hear some noises, it's just me doing my inhaler while you're looking at the desk. Anyhow, you can get the 2 reference photos that I combined to create this artwork as well, and we will quickly recap what we did last time. And you should be able to catch up with us, no problem, if this is the only stream that you're seeing. And again, on the replay, I will go back in and I will timestamp things so that it's easy for you to navigate going forward. So you will see a timestamp. If you're watching this on replay right now, go to the description and you'll see a timestamp. If you don't want to see the new fancy things that have come into the studio, you can skip right to let's start painting. I will make sure that I put that in. But let's go to the desk. There we go. And you're going to forgive me for just a moment. But I think you'll appreciate that I did that because then the coughing will stop and I'll be able to breathe. Okay. So I got a portable painter and I have not been able to decide what the heck to put in my portable painter. And it's been making me crazy. I'm like, I don't know. I just no idea what to put in this thing. I finally made a decision. And this is, and I don't know if this happens to you guys. So these are the color choices. This is Core. So I use Core watercolors. Let me get my other hand out of the way of the other camera. So Core watercolors, I'm going to put it there in case, you know, you're looking for a limited palette and you just want to pause and snag a picture. This, it never fails. I don't know if this happens to you guys. I don't know why I don't swatch all my colors before I fill my pans. Because if you look at that palette, that Pyro Red Light and the Pyro Orange, they're so close together. I would have skipped the Pyro Orange and I would have used that space for something else. And so that means in the future, it's probably going to change and become something else. Also, there were some colors here like, I did link this portable painter below because if you've seen the portable painter before, then you know it only comes with 12. These here, you can only get if you order the portable painter classic kit plus. It's like classic plus kit or something like that. So it comes with these little tiny pans because normally a brush comes in here. And instead of having the brush, I got these pans and it came with 3 little water brushes, which we know. I haven't been a fan of water brushes. I'm going to talk about these in a second. So anyhow, and then I look at that burnt sienna and of course my Quin Gold Deep. They're really close. Would I still pick the two of them? I think I would. I think I still would. I would swap out. So here's my split primary. So if you're looking for a split primary, the reason I picked Cerulean Blue Chromium instead of Phthalo Blue Green Shade is because Phthalo Blue Green Shade is a light fast 2. And everything on here is a light fast 1. So that's why I went with the Cerulean Blue Chromium. And this is a plein air palette. The Cerulean Blue Chromium has more granulation, to it, where Phthalo Blue does not. And that's going to just help me when I'm out painting, getting textures in my landscapes. The Cobalt Green also has granulation. I chose Viridian instead of Phthalo Green because this Viridian seems to re-wet without any issues for me. So I went ahead and went with that. So this granulates, this granulates, this granulates, this one, this one, this one. This is the transparent yellow oxide, PY42, otherwise known as yellow ochre. That's going to granulate. My Titan Buff, PW6:1, that's going to granulate. I have down here the Ultramarine Violet, which is PV15. That's going to granulate. You see a theme going here? The Ivory Black, PBK9, not as heavy a granulator as Lunar Black or Mars Black. But I can't get that. I can't core to the best of my knowledge. You guys drop me a comment if I'm mistaken, because it'll go in my next order. But core doesn't make a Mars Black. So they don't have PBK11. I wish they would, because could you imagine core with PBK11? Like PBK11 in Aquazol. I would love it. So anyhow, that's what I picked. Is it going to be a palette that I'm going to love? I'm not sure yet. Some of these colors, I also picked Perline Violet, but I think they'll lend themselves pretty well to landscape. So we're going to find out, because we're going to be going out, like I said, this weekend, the 4 of us, and we're going to be doing some painting. So of course, if you are a channel member or a patron and you are on Discord, you will get some behind the scenes. Of course, I will share some pictures and show that to you over the weekend. Excuse me. Okay. This little bag is by Bienyo. And I wanted some fine liners that weren't like really stark black. So I got this little kit. These do not come in it. I will talk to you about those in a moment. But all of these do come in it. So these are sepia fine liners by Bienyo. They are waterproof. They are archival. So it says on them, it's glasses time. It's getting dark. It is going to start storming here. So they're pigment ink, light fast, waterproof, fade proof. So this is sepia. They range from 0. So what's that? 0.5. So 0.05 all the way up to the point. Is it the 0.8? Yes. And then they also have very similar to, I'm just going to drop these back down in here. So very similar to the Funisuke brush pens that I like, the one that has the hard nib and the soft nib. So here's your nib. There is your one, and it goes all the way down to this guy, your 0.5. So that really tiny fine one. And my camera is doing lines, I see, as I just put my hand up. Give me just 1 second. I'm sorry, it's going to move you for a moment. There we go. Sorry. If I didn't do that, the whites, when I show you the paper, that should stop moving in a moment. The whites, we're going to have lines on them. So it has like a brush nib. And this is like brush soft. This one is like a medium or small and medium. I don't know, but if we see the two of those side by side there, yeah. I really cannot wait to give these a try for some line and wash. I have a really tiny, if you saw my post on Instagram, I have a really tiny wooden palette that I just put together. And I have a little tiny sketchbook that I'm also taking out with me this weekend. And then there's those. These are like the Funasuke nibs. They're very similar to that. I really like those. So they have a little bit of flexibility to them. So there's that. Okay. Then I got this little treasure. This is a Pentel Milky brush. And we might use this today. I'm not sure. We'll see when we get to the Fireflies. With this, you pump the end and it will release the white. And I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how opaque, if it'll show through, if it's going to be similar to the Dr. P.H. Martin's, but I absolutely have not been a fan of these wretched things. Like, I hate them. Let me just so you're aware exactly what I'm talking about. Strongly do not like. They work when they want to, if they want to. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they did a minute ago, but now they won't again. Yeah, I don't like those. So I got this to see, and it has the brush nib. So yeah, I don't have any of the white down right now, but I'm not going to pump that until I need to use it. And then I got more of these, and these are the Wink of Stella. It came as a package of 3. But there's 2 of them. I just brought them up here to put them away. So the Wink of Stella 2, you can get 3 like this, which are clear. Or, and I did make note of it in the description below, you can get, if you get the Christmas Sparkle set. The Christmas Sparkle set has gold, silver, and clear. This is the set I started with. I ordered 3 of the clear just because I use the clear most often. It puts the best little sparkle, and we might use that today to just add some sparkle to some of our Fireflies, because why not? Sparkly can be fun. So these I needed to bring up here and put away, and I figured, you know what, I'll show you guys what we got going on. If I can put those up, because I don't have room on the desk, if you haven't noticed. There's no room. All right, I'm leaving those out because we might use those. And I don't know how the desk got so zoomed out. It's got to be my camera. Oh, that's not the one we want to zoom. I am on the wrong one. There we go. Let me just zoom you in a little bit. Ta-da, and then you'll be able to see the art better too. There we go. Okay. So putting that aside, I definitely recommend. I got those biannual liners, fine liners, because I had ordered a set of black 0.3 because I needed them for a project, and I had like 8 of those pens in the case. And so anyhow, I loved them. They did not bleed. They did not feather. They were waterproof. They were everything that I needed them to be. And so I went ahead and I saw another YouTuber that I watch here, another artist that I watch here on YouTube, and was recommending the sepia ones. And I was like, definitely, excuse me, definitely need to try those. So, I have been on the search to finally find a water brush that I might be able to love. I've heard good things about the Aquash brushes by Pentel. I didn't have one that I knew of. I thought I had one, but I can't find it anywhere. So I went ahead and ordered a set. And these have, normally the flat one is on the big chunky tank. However, I thought I'm going to put the chunky tank on the one that I would probably use the most, which is the large. So there's the large round. And look at those points. If that point holds up, maybe, just maybe, I could get to like this one. Then this one is the flat. So it's almost like a cat's tongue, which I thought was interesting. And then you have a medium and a small round. So yeah, those are going to come with me this weekend when I go on my excursion. Set those aside. And then came this little box today from Blick. I'm so excited about what's in this box. Let me just pull everything out. I have everything linked in the description, of course. Get rid of that somewhere. Okay, are you ready? Like I needed more brushes. These are all brushes. I got the Aqua Elite series. Now, you know, we've been working with the Velvet Touch line. I wanted to try the Aqua Elite line just for my benefit. I already had these from, is that all of them? I think so. I think I just got 3 to try them. So I already had a 6 round, an 8 long round, and a 12 long round. And I got, I'll talk about this set in a second. I ordered these. So, you know, cadmium red feral kitten. I'm sorry, but I'm hitting you with brushes again. I got the oval wash, 3/4 oval wash. Now, let me just say, I also have one more coming. It is the 1.5 inch modeler brush. And if you don't know what a modeler brush is, well, I will show you. This is my Princeton Neptune 1 inch modeler brush. So it's going to be an 1.5 inch modeler. And that's going to be in the Aqua Elite range. So those are my Neptune brushes. I love them. They're like squirrel. Oh, yeah, I need to remember to tell you guys that. I heard something on YouTube the other day and I was like, wrong. This is wrong information. Why is this? This is wrong information. So I just want to clarify something about brushes, and I will do that. I'm going to pull this out so that I remember, because it has to do with the silver black velvet. Okay. So anyways, I got the oval wash, 3/4 oval wash. The reason I ordered these separately was because I already had the 12, and I had an 8 long round, and there's an 8 round in this set. But there is a set, if you are interested in it, that comes with the 3/4 oval wash, the size 12 long round, a size 8, and I don't know if it's the 8 long round or the 8 round, and the 1.5 inch modeler brush. That's on Blick. You can get that as a set on Blick. Obviously, I already had some of them. I didn't need to buy the whole set. I just bought the pieces I didn't have. Then I got this beauty. Look at this thing. Let me just peel the plastic so that I can release the tube. Just, you know, there's plastic on the outside of this. I had a conversation about these with somebody once. They're plastic that's on the outside of this. You can take that off. Okay? But once you take this tube off, the plastic that's on this, don't take that off. Do not. If you've never had a quill brush before, do not take that plastic off. That's what's helping hold your brush together. Okay, so there is the, look at that, a size 6 quill. I think that's gorgeous. I'm like so excited to use this brush. I have other quill brushes, but that one, yeah. I had to get it. And then I got this set here, and this set comes with the 3/4 wash, 1/2 inch angle shader. My hands are shaking because I just did my inhaler. It'll calm down in a little bit. A size 8 round. So there, look, you can see the difference between a long round and a round. So if I put those ferrules, the ferrules are the same. There is your difference. You have more belly here and it's much longer to that point. And let me get this one wet just so you can see. Obviously this one is already holding its shape because I haven't rinsed anything out of it. So there you go. If you're wondering what's the difference between a long and a regular, There it is. I love the long rounds, but I also like the regular rounds. Yeah, cats are pigs. That's right. See, I wasn't going to out you. I was not going to out you and say that. I wasn't going to say it was you. But yes, saved you from destroying a very expensive Princeton Neptune quill brush because you were like, I can't get that plastic off. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You don't get, and she wasn't telling me. She was commenting on a different Discord server that I'm a member of. And I was like, message her and I'm like, no, 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 no. Do not take that off. You cannot take that off of there. Leave it be. Don't try to cut it off. So yeah, anyways, I am so glad. I would have been so sad for you if that brush was damaged. And so then we have a number 2 round. And I just want to share with you again. Here's the difference. Here's a number 2 round. Here, I mean, these are Velvet Touch to Aqua Elite, but it's going to be the same if it was Aqua Elite. That's a 2 long round. I like the long rounds because they're not as long as a rigger, so you still have more of the control, but they hold more paint than a regular tiny little size 2 brush, which I rarely actually use for anything, but they're here. Unlike Joseph, I think Joseph has mastered these, but we're not throwing shade. We're not throwing shade here, Joseph. We're not. It's so not. Because, you know, I know all about payback. I'm not putting that back on. That doesn't need to be back on there. So yeah, I'm just going to leave these in their case for now because, I mean, unless you guys want to see them in action today while I'm painting, and you let me know, drop me a comment, and maybe we'll see one of these. What am I doing? This goes back in here. Let's just get rid of these altogether so we can't keep trying to put them on something. But you see this? I don't have any more room in my little cup that holds all my Velvet Touch brushes. And I actually got some more Velvet Touch brushes. Let's talk about which ones I got. Basically, I just filled in my gaps. Cat's Art Picks says, thank you, Joseph. Cat's Art Picks said, so you had an ad break. You didn't hear me throw shade your way about the small brush, right? I certainly hope not. Oh my goodness. I wasn't throwing shade. I wasn't. I was just being a Weisenheimer. We'll just say that. I was just being smart. That's just a little smarty pants over here. So anyway, I got the long rounds to fill in the gaps of what I didn't have. Because I saw there was a loud ad. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Loud ad, George, because I've heard a few times that it seems like my audio is coming through softly on you guys' side. And right now I'm hitting into the yellow. Like when I look at what is being like picked up from my microphone, I'm hitting into yellow. Like I should be blasting out your eardrums right now. I don't know what is going on with that. So I'm going to be doing some looking into that. And I've already started looking into a new microphone because clearly something's got to give. I don't want to be one of those channels where you have to turn it way up and then the next channel comes on and you're like blows the heck out of your ears because it's crazy loud. Anyways, I want to be just right. I want to be Goldilocks when it comes to sound. Okay. So let me just share with you. I picked up the size 4 long round, the size 6 long round, and the size 10 long round. Those were the long rounds I was missing. But look at that 4 long round. I saw Steve Mitchell using a 4, and I could see that it said 4. It was low for, okay, now today I just moved my microphone today. So I pushed everything up as far as I could get it, and I moved my microphone to be slightly closer to me. So hopefully that's helping. But I saw Steve Mitchell using a size 4 round, and I was like, that has to be a long round. I really liked the look of the brush, and so of course, you know, I had to order one. But look at that. I mean, it's not as long as a rigger, but it's definitely not. See, here's our comparison. Here's the 4 round. And look at that. It's like much, come on, focus for me. There we go. So you can see the difference. Now that point, again, this is not wet. If I get that wet, you can see my point comes right back. So that's my very stained, thank you Phthalo Blue, 4 round. But in comparison, the regular round to the long round, there is not a ton of difference in length right there, but just enough that it really does make a difference. And that point is much more like, getcha. Okay, thank you, Other Tara. Thank you. So many brushes. Oh my gosh, I'm just loving the brushes. So that's what I got today. I was just filling in the gaps of what I was missing. I would call my Velvet Touch collection complete. I don't think, we haven't seen the petals brushes get used yet. And these, if you haven't, I don't know if I've shared them with you or not. They still have the covers on, so it's possible that I have not. These are very unique. They are a triangular wedge brush. You see that? They're triangular shaped. They have quite the long point on them. So you can do leaves and petals. And you start off really, really fine. You would press down into it and lift back off. You could do some really nice leaf work. But for now, I'm going to leave it alone. I couldn't help myself, sorry. And we're just going to get to painting because we have a lot to do to finish this. But let me just share something that I heard. I heard somebody say something and it wasn't correct. I heard someone say that this is the difference between a real hairbrush. Let me just grab, this is an 8 round. I want to grab the same brush because I'm going to show you, this is what I heard. This is what is not true. I mean, it's not completely correct. Just a little bit of the information is off. Okay. Size 8 round, silver black velvet, size 8 round, Velvet Touch. Now, what you need to know about these two brushes is Princeton, the Princeton Velvet Touch is 100% synthetic. No real brush hairs. A silver black velvet brush has real hair and synthetic fibers. So it is a combination. What was put out was that this is the difference. I got to get these both wet for you to see. That this was the difference between a real hairbrush and a basically synthetic brush. First off, like I said, this is not 100% real hair. This has synthetic fibers in it. When I use this brush, you see how if I'm using that, it's going to, see how it kind of stays flopped over. And the more I use up the water out of that brush, the more it's going to want to like flop. Okay. This brush, every single time, it doesn't matter. You see that snap? Okay. So what was said was that this is what you get from a synthetic brush and this is what you get from a real hairbrush. That is not true. This is what you get from a synthetic or real hair squirrel brush. This is a squirrel brush. And I can show you that that is true because, and I just, for me, the reason that I wanted to touch on this is just because it's just educating all of us, okay? This is a Princeton Neptune. This is a Princeton Neptune 8 round, just like this is an 8 round, just like this is an 8 round. This is a Princeton brush. It is 100% synthetic squirrel hair, okay? If I use this brush, again, you see how this one starts to stay over. If I use this brush, the more I get, let me get more of that water out of there. The more, see how it flattened right out? And it's gonna like, it's not going to have 100% of the spring back. This has a little bit more spring than this does because this has real animal hair in it. So it will, to a point, have a little bit more spring, but see how I can just flatten that right out? I'm not flattening that one out like I'm flattening that one out. The difference is this is synthetic Kolinsky type brush. Right? This is like a synthetic Kolinsky sable type brush. This is a synthetic squirrel hair brush. If you do not want a brush that gets floppy and loose and is super soft, then you don't want squirrel. Whether it be synthetic, real, or a synthetic real blend like the silver black velvet. Okay, so if you should happen to all of a sudden see, and I'm not calling out any channel, I'm not calling out any person, all I'm doing is sharing the accurate information, because should you see it in the future, I don't want you to think, oh, if I can't have a real hairbrush because it won't spring back. That is not true. You can have a real hair Kolinsky brush, and guess what? It's going to have snap like this, because that's a characteristic of a Kolinsky or a sable brush. It has snap. Squirrel, softer, it doesn't. Okay, so I hope that that can shed some light, because yeah, that's not correct, that if you get a real hair brush, it's going to be floppy, and if you get a synthetic, it's always going to snap, because Princeton Neptunes do not snap like a Velvet Touch does. And they both have their place. They absolutely both have their place. If I want a brush that's going to stay really, really wet and give me a beautiful, wet wash to put down, I want my Princeton Neptune, or I want my silver black velvet. If I want a brush that I can really get in there and control, that's going to have a good snap, that's going to hold its point, it's never going to let me down, then I want the Velvet Touch, or I want the Aqua Elite. The Aqua Elite is like a synthetic Kolinsky sable, and the 8 round I just got in this set. I'm not going to wet that one because, and this one's not going to be great to do because it's the long round. It's going to have little hairs that'll stick out, but you see how it snaps back? It snaps right back. This is like a Kolinsky type brush. So there's that. I hope that makes it a little clearer. See, this is the 8 long round, and the long rounds are a different species altogether because they have shorter hairs and longer hairs. Whereas if we look at just the regular round, because that's what I was showing you in the other ones, see how it snaps right back every time. Synthetic, again, Princeton brush is a synthetic brush. The Aqua Elite is like a Kolinsky sable. It will snap. So if you should hear anybody tell you that if you want a brush that snaps, you need a synthetic brush, and if you want a brush that's softer, you need a real hair brush, that is not true. You need a brush that snaps, you need a Kolinsky or a sable type brush. If you want a brush that's softer, you need a squirrel type brush. Okay, so there. We just moving on. I saw it and I'm like, that's not correct. That is not correct information. And somebody's going to spend money, get brushes that they then don't like because it doesn't behave the way they thought it was going to behave based on what they heard. And so there we go. Here we are. Here we are. Are we going to finish today? I don't know, because yet again, we covered a lot of other stuff beforehand. So aren't you glad I told you in the beginning that if you're watching on the replay that I was going to timestamp this? Yeah. All right, here's where we left off last week. So if you remember, we took our line art. Now the masking has been on this for a week. We will see how that goes. I don't think there's going to be a problem with it coming off. And I thought I saw a question. Yeah, exactly. The Aqua Elites, Princeton Neptunes, are not going to give you a hard point to draw with. No, they are not. They are not going to give you that firm point that just holds no matter like how you put pressure down. That point is going to hold if you're on. The Velvet Touch will do it, and so will the Aqua Elites. So if Aqua Elite is a little more beyond the price range that you want, I absolutely recommend the Princeton Velvet Touch. That's why I got all of these brushes, because I figured if I use this mostly on the channel, then you guys will see them and you will know. I definitely recommend. And now I'm like, all my brushes are messed up and I put everything back in the case and I need the brushes we're going to use today. So I might grab this 6 long round, which is one of our brand new ones. I am going to rinse out some of the stuff that they put in the bristles there for when they ship them. So we've got that. And I want, like, where are they? I need a different, I've got a brush holder coming because this has got, something's got to give. There's a size 8 round. I thought I had a 12, but maybe I only have the 12 long round. I thought I had a 12. 10. There we go. That's good enough. We're going to use the 10. This is the one I use most often, is my 10 round, which, again, that doesn't help me when it's down in the cup and I can't see it. So that's the one I go for most often. So I have a 10, an 8, and a 6. 10 and an 8 round and a 6 long round. That's what I've got for this project. I can't say that I won't go for this bad boy here. Look at this thing. If I need to wet a large area, you're going to see me grab this mop today just because it's going to be fun. All right. Oh, thank you, Rob. Rob is at it again. I saw another question. I thought I saw another question. What brush case do you use? So you saw this. This was, okay. These aren't available anymore. I have looked for these brushes on Amazon. I got these a couple years ago. They were Art Echo brushes. I still would use these for gouache or even like acrylic. They were great. They never shed a hair. They were an inexpensive brush and they held up so well. I had an art student, and this is what I used to recommend when I had students that I taught one-on-one on Zoom. Because during the pandemic, I was teaching on Zoom, like in one-on-one classes. Excuse me. So this was the case that those brushes were in. And so I just repurposed that for my Neptune brushes because I don't always use these. But look, there's that size 6 quill. And here's the size 6 quill from the Aqua Elite. This is going to be really super soft. And this one I'm hoping is going to have some beautiful snappy spring in its step. So yeah, that's what those are in. However, to answer the question, which brush case do I use? I have just switched to, or actually I haven't switched to, I got for my, if I'm traveling, like I'm going to be going away in a couple weeks for a weekend. And I will bring my Velvet Touch brushes. I'm going to bring my Neptunes, my Velvet Touch, and my Aqua Elites because that's just what I'm going to do. This is the case. It is the small. Please note the dimensions. This is the small case. The small case. If you are storing watercolor brushes, the small case is all you need. That's like 11 inches. I love that it has holes. You can see through it. So if I put away a brush that's still a little damp, I don't have to worry about it because air can get through this case. And this will hold, I don't know, I just got some new brushes. So hopefully this will hold my entire collection of the Velvet Touch. And Meeden is actually sending me, I purchased this one myself. However, my contact at Meeden is sending me out a new one for all of my new Aqua Elite brushes. So super big thank you to them. That's coming. There's going to be a package from Meeden arriving soon. So that's the one that I recommend. That's the one that I prefer. I already had purchased it for myself before that they were sending me one. All right. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Can we paint something? You're probably like, yes, for the love of God, stop showing us stuff and start painting. All right. I need to take a peek at the reference photo here. We're going to try to paint this stuff in quickly. We're going to get some of these trees in the background, which I can hardly see now because if you remember, I used my Derwent graphite block on the back of I printed out the reference photo and I put this on the back of it to transfer. And this is water soluble. We did discover that last week. Yes, this is water soluble. So when you use that to transfer an image for watercolor, when you paint it, your lines just kind of disappear. But when you paint the background over your lines, guess what? They just kind of disappear. So it's fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm using my core watercolors this week. Last week we started with excuse me, we started with this set, the Paul Rubens 5th generation set, right? This is what we started this project with. And I was using the Berlin blue, which is like a Prussian blue. That's what we did this background. And let me tell you why I'm not continuing with that. I think I'm going to be able to paint it a whole lot faster today if I use paints that I am used to using. So we're going to be using, I need to move my sketchbook out of the way so I don't get it wet. Oh my gosh, I have short arms. Okay. All right. Is Rob having to drop? If so, we will see you. Oh, yeah, Rob says I have to go. Rob is possibly already gone. So if you're not, thanks for being here, Rob. Appreciate it. And Rob also, let's just acknowledge Rob for a minute, gifted 10 memberships. And if you see your name on the screen, then, okay, if this will work with me, you have been gifted a membership, and that is a Superfan membership. Superfan memberships entitle you access to my Discord server. And if you are on other people's Discord servers and you already have your YouTube account connected to Discord, that happens over on the Discord side, then you should see my server and be able to join it automatically. It will automatically do that for you. So there we go. I think I got everybody. So thank you so much, Rob. And you get so many benefits. Having access for only $2.99 a month, you get all you get the badges here on YouTube, you get the custom emotes, and you're going to get access to my Discord. Now, every tier has more channels. If you're a studio member, you get complete access. But even as a super fan, you get access. I want to say there's like 6 to 9, it might be 9 channels that you have access to. Things like help, channels like behind the scenes, general like announcements. There's a general chat. There's a lot of stuff on Discord. I am super active. Ask anybody that is on the Discord server. I am very active on Discord. I interact with you all the time. So if that's something you like, it's a wonderful art community. I invite you for only $2.99 a month. You can become a super fan. If you were gifted a membership today and you enjoy it and you want it to continue, you just go to the channel and click on membership. There's a link in the description. And you can continue your membership. Now, if it's not for you, that's okay too. I hope you'll continue to join us here on Thursdays. And yeah, nothing, you won't have to do anything. It'll just stop. And the little YouTube bot will take you out of the server. And that's it. Nothing else to do. So, I'm just giving my core watercolors a spritz. And I'm going to be using Phthalo Blue this time because I don't think I just have my palette sitting on a Lazy Susan. If you're wondering, like, this is not like anything special. It's just sitting on a Lazy Susan. I do have a palette and I'm going to be making a video about it. I have to reach out to the company and talk to them a little bit more. I have found the palette that my Daniel Smith, I'm grabbing Payne's Gray. That's Payne's Gray Violet. I just want regular Payne's Gray. Ivory Black. Ivory Black will work too. This one's not stuck in here. It's going to be fun. There we go. That's what I want. So this, basically, if I'm using phthalo blue and I'm using ivory black, ivory black does granulate somewhat. And so, you know what that means we're making? We're making something that's going to look like Daniel Smith's Lunar Black. So if you have that, you can just use Lunar Black. If you don't have that, guess what? Just take phthalo blue and some black and or neutral tint, mix them together. We want something that's going to look kind of grayed out like that, but still leaning towards the blues, right? Because we're going to be in the background. We're going to do these really distant trees. There we go, like that. My ears are popping. I'm waiting for it looks like the rain might have already started. It's probably why my ears are popping. Do you guys do that when the pressure changes? Does it like make your ears pop? All right, I have to switch up which photo I'm looking at. There we go. Okay. Excuse me. We're going to start with some watered down. So I'm just going to pull this off to the side. I'm going to be using this for a bit, right? And we're going to just paint in. If I was looking at my line art, I would see. Let me see if I can pull my line up real quick, because then I can see where my lines were. And that's actually going to help. There we go. I started to tell you on the first stream, and it just disappeared, that I have 3 monitors. And my third monitor is like, I'll work when I want to. And it was, all of a sudden I had to do this. I had to do an update on my computer. And it was working. And I was like, this is fantastic. My monitor's back. Hadn't been back in like so long. I'm just not even going to worry about this. This is where the tree is. If this is slightly off from the line art and what you have, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm just putting some trees in the distance. I promise this won't go the way of the last little Enchanted Woods painting I tried to do that we never ever actually finished that. That was in gouache. You guys remember that? Those of you who have been around for a while, you probably remember that. Sorry, we never went back to that. I still have it. You know, it's still taped on the board it was on. So anyhow, trees. They're in the distance. That's all we need. We just need to know there's trees back there. And then we're going to come through. Now I need to see my reference photo again. Okay. And there's going to be some trees out here. Just kind of going to the edge of this one. You don't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's trees back there. That's all we need to know. There's trees back there. I do want a little bit more phthalo blue. Not that much. So strong. Dylan. I'm just laughing at what Dylan shared about the little ads that she saw. Yeah, my apologies. I was trying to do something quickly, and you know, that's just not recommended, I guess. All right, this is going to be back where our moon is glowing. So I'm going to put, that's a little darker than I want. But phthalo blue is staining. So if I just real quick dab it up, now that's perfect. So that's just what I'm going to do, right? I'm just going to kind of put it in here, and I'm going to dab it up because I want that lighter. I want that lighter color. And I should have carried my background back there. Actually, it looks like I have a tree here. Let's put this in. I want this side to be a little more blue, right? Just lighter. Again, this is in the distance. I need more water, less paint, less pigment. It doesn't mean I need a wet brush though. Yeah, we're just kind of making this up as we go here, but it's fine. There should have been some more trees back there. I didn't want to overlap that one. We can come back in with darker values and do some negative painting if it needs to be. Oh, excellent. I'll have to check that out on MeWe after Cat's Art Picks. All right. Let's get Prussian blue. I like Prussian blue. It's not as, it's similar to phthalo blue, but it's not so like in your face. It's its subdued, calm cousin. Let's just say that. And then there was phthalo blue, which is crazy. Basically, we just want it to look like there's layers of foliage back here. I'm not going to worry too much about all the little placements. And over here on our moon, though, we have some happy little trees. Okay, get our some little evergreen trees in there. Remember, your colors will dry lighter. So this looks a little dark to me at the moment, but I know it's going to dry lighter. And it is in front of our moon, but it's not as dark as what's going to be up here. And when you see me dab, I'm just picking up a little bit of that so that we have a lighter tree. I'm going to leave a few spaces, right? If the light, I want the light to show through here. That's where the moon is. I want to add to that glow. So I'm not trying to be, there we go. The center where the trunk is, I'm going to grab some of this darker value. And just with the point of my brush to the very tip, just put in a little bit, suggest the trunk in there. See, that one's not as wet. See how much harsher that line was? We're just going to dab some of that up. That's fine. I'm not doing that. That one's going to be way too dry already. And I'm going to leave that as it is. I know I have white space, but when I take off that masking, there's going to be a lot of white space. So we're just going to leave it. George says, I like when you're painting trees. I like painting trees. I love painting trees. All right, then we're going to have some of this lighter just off in here, right? Let's just make some foliage happening over here. I'm just going to, you see how I'm just letting my brush dance around on the page. If some of the light shows through, it's fine. This is not a problem. Now now that's starting to get dry brush. I need to tap my brush, and that was my clean water. Tap my brush in my water. Come back and get a little bit more. And we're going to go another round. And I'm going to grab a little bit of this darker value. I put this in front. So we're going to just layer this in. For those who don't know, if you haven't seen it yet, I am super excited. I just had an email with my contact at Meeden today. Meeden is coming out with a larger size block. I cannot wait. Supply is really limited right now, so there's actually a chance you can use, there's a link in the description to look at their paper. They're going to have a 12 by 16 watercolor block, and I am already thinking about what we can do for a painting on that. As soon as they get more in, they're going to be sending me on some of those. So I can't wait. I can't wait to get those and give them a try. While I'm doing this, I need to just kind of continue. I'm painting like negatively behind these trees here. Don't worry if you kind of encroach on your trees a little bit. It doesn't matter, because our trees are going to be darker than this. So, because our trees are much closer to us. So don't worry about that. Over here, let's put another, looks like there's another tree back here. I'm just gonna pull this up right off. That tree just kind of, it's gonna disappear. We're gonna have foliage covering this anyway, so that's just gonna disappear back there. And this will come down, just kind of disappear into stuff that'll happen in front of it. This brush is kind of small for this part. More than small. We're going to go to our 10 round. There we go. And now we can just quickly grabbing that darker color. Quickly lay in some more. And I see I have a spot here where I'm going to have a firefly, so I'm really going to add some dark there. Time to mix up some more, right? Because if I have it dark around behind here, that's just going to glow so much more when I paint the firefly there. So I apologize for, in the beginning, we took a little bit extra time. So we may end up running over, but I am absolutely finishing this painting, and I really don't want to take it into a third week. So I'm hoping that we can get some of this background painted really quickly. So again, here's my ivory black. Grab my phthalo blue. So in your face. I am not a huge fan of phthalo blue. I definitely like a more muted palette. Now see, like that, I love that blue. So I mean, I guess I'm a fan of what I can mix with phthalo blue. Okay, and we're going to use this. Again, I'm watering that down. I need a lighter value. Let me pull some of the extra paint out of this brush. There's a lot there. And let's just test it over here. So it doesn't matter if this is a little darker in this space. And I'm just going to tap that and let it do its thing, wet, and wherever it spreads, that's fine. We're going to wet this area here, and we're going to do the same. We're going to try to paint in some wet. And I don't want my brush like dripping, but I do want to wet this area. I've made some marks, so I'm trying carefully not to brush over this too hard, because I have lines from my line art showing me where I have different nope, that's not, that is painted, that is not masking. I'm gonna be careful with that mushroom. I'm painting around these mushrooms. I'm just getting a tiny bit of that on the brush. As we go back, this turns very blue. We're going to add a little green into that blue as we come this way, but all right, let's just pop in. And I see this is actually a light, really light blue, and I'm going to let that be because if some of my little fringe there doesn't get painted, this is wet and wet, so it's going to blur, it's going to feather out. But if I end up with an edge that has that really light blue showing, once we bring this moon back to that bright color, this here is just gonna, it's just gonna help it glow. It's just gonna look like it's being lit by the moon, so it's fine. We have lighter values. I can always come back and add something a little darker in front of this. But letting things bleed out when you paint it wet into wet and kind of spread a little bit is, it's just going to help soften the edges. It's going to help it kind of paint itself. Again, here's a firefly, so let's just choose to make that a little bit darker right there, whether it is or not in our you know, reference photos. Again, it's paint around my little firefly guy here. We're not a slave to our reference photo, right? We want photo similar, not photorealistic. This, of course, isn't going to be photorealistic. This is more of like an illustrative style, I would say. Painting around that space of my mushroom. There we go. Same with here. Now remember I said as we start to move down, we're going to want to add some green into this. And I'm going to take, I think I'm going to take my cobalt green. Let's give that a try because that's also going to be a granulator. Yeah, we're going to take the cobalt green. And that should be, oh my gosh, I think it's PG-36 if I'm not mistaken. See, as I start to drop that in now, we're going to start to work our way towards the green that we're going to get up front. And I'm going to paint around my mushroom. And I'm going to give this, where's my fine mister? Right here. So just taking a little fine mister. And I'm going to give this center area a spritz just because I want that paint to keep moving. And if that gives me some more texture in here, that's just a bonus. We're going to add some more in this space here. And I'm just kind of tapping. If I get little highlights here, I'm going with it. Do they? The 15 by 10 inch? I didn't see that one. And a 16 by 12 inch. A 21 by 15. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to have to reach out and ask if they will send me one of all the bigger sizes so that I can show you guys what those all look like. I love the medium paper. It's a pleasure to work on. I just remembered I was supposed to send a message before I started. I forgot. It was kind of an important message. I don't know if Lou is watching. If you're watching, I didn't send that message. You might want to send it yourself. I'm like, so sorry. You guys are probably like, what? Yeah, just ignore us. All right, I'm going to try to go around my mushroom here. I want that mushroom to be brighter. The other Terra, are they pads or are they blocks like these are? I have to go on there and check that out. Painting around our mushrooms. I need to get the trees in so we can see how dark that part's going to be. And I'm not liking some of the lines I'm getting here, so I'm going to come back in. We're going to mix up some more. Blue. And even if this is a brighter blue, I'm just going to go with it. I want to make sure. I still want this to move. So just giving it a little fine mist so that I won't have any hard edges when I come back with this. And if it kind of spiders itself out, it's just going to look like trees. I need a little bit more of that green in there now. I'm going to do the same thing through here. But again, I'm going to leave kind of an edge going here where that could be like a highlight from the moon. And it will move somewhat, but it's not going to move a ton because all I did was mist it a little bit. Just keep going to my oh my goodness, it's PBK 9, my ivory black, and my phthalo blue, and my cobalt green to create that mixture. Because I want this, I want to push this back. Right, so down here, it's lower. I'm going to push this back. I'm still going to try to avoid that mushroom as much as possible. I know I could get some bleeding in on that. I'm just going to try. I'm going to try our best. And one of the things we can do is come in and just tap out the cap. There we go. We don't have to paint perfect shrubs or bushes or what was that? I heard a term yesterday. It looks great from the road, meaning if you back up a ways, it's going to look even better. So I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. Okay, yeah, I'm liking that better. I want to get some of those dark values over here as well. But again, I'm like paying attention to leave some space where it's lighter. Next, we're going to put in our trees that are closer up. Yeah. Definitely. What do those have in common? Like, just I'm looking at Dylan saying she was just hit with another ad for things that want to help you get rid of moisture, I guess. Okay. Let's get our trees. Let's get these trees in. This tree here needs to be with our phthalo blue, ivory black combo. Still using that size 10 round. Paint around my mushroom. Hands are still shaky. I knew that I was going to risk that when I had to take my inhaler. Albuterol always makes my hands shaky. We're just going to let it work to our benefit. This is going to be like a branch goes back that way, but there's another tree here, so I'm not going to continue that line. Otherwise, when I paint this one over it, we'll see that come through. And this has branches that come up. So I really only need to take this tree to about here. We're going to drop some more in and we're going to let this dry a little bit, and then we're going to drop some more in because we need to get it darker in parts. This is a branch that goes off, and I'm only going to go right to where that tree is. And then it has a branch that comes up like this, but again, it kind of stops because where it goes up, it's going to be hidden behind the foliage of this tree. So we're going to kind of just tapping in a little extra paint here. There we go. Like that. And there's a lot of we've got some little fireflies around this area too. So we don't have to worry. That's gonna black, a little bit of our blue. Gonna come up the center. I want to darken that center up. Remember, it's gonna dry lighter. This tree is still very wet. I'm not going all the way to the edge because I want it to look like it's lit by the moon. Help give it some dimension. I'm sticking more to that right side. And again, I know that this will dry lighter. I'm just drying my brush. There we go. Okay, now we've got, look at the other one. I keep going back and forth between the two. Okay, much darker back here. Oh, we've also got some back here. Let's put in, look at that paint separating. See it separating on my palette there. Having a little extra water. So again, I want to lighten this up. It's going to be back in the distance, but this is darker. This side of our painting over here is much darker. So back behind where our little mushroom is here, we're going to have another tree. Let's have another tree come up over this way. I'm just going to let it disappear. I'll let it disappear into the background. Okay. And we need to add I'm gonna let that dry first. I need that to dry. We'll go over here. Like I did with this stuff, we're gonna add some in over here as well. So I'm just gonna start by painting in. See how you can still see the tree through it? I'll put darker values over that. That's why I didn't bring this branch into that tree, because I didn't want to still see that branch coming through this tree that's in front of it. Oh, it says pads. Okay, yes. Then it's most likely it's a block. Put this. I'm negatively painting around a branch that comes through just like that. That sound means that the UPS man stopped at my house. That's exciting. That means there's more stuff coming. Or has arrived. Oh, it's not for me. Like I just looked up at my aid device and it shows me what was delivered. I'm like, that's not for me. It's nothing exciting. Never mind. Let's return to our regularly scheduled programming. Oh my goodness. Grab some of this green. Why not? Just pop that down in there. If I can get that to be activated. Pick it up on my brush. There we go. There's a mushroom right here, so again, I gotta be careful of that. Oh, and we don't want to forget to paint that side. Yeah, nothing. She says, never mind. I thought it was going to be exciting too. So not. So not. Wasn't for me. I'm getting some of the extra water out of the belly of my brush. That's what you just saw me do when I tapped. If you tap with the tissue just above the ferrule at the very base of the belly of your brush, it'll pull out the excess water and you'll start to see color, and then you know now it's just the color that's in your brush there. So that when I come in here, again, we have a little firefly here, so I'm going to darken this area up to make it look like we've got some more foliage going on back there. All right, we got all kinds of stuff going on in this background of our painting. And this is like supposed to look like it's behind that tree. It's fine. Again, this is the background. The thing we spend so much time fussing over, and once we get everything else painted, we don't even realize what's going on back there. Yeah, it's that part. There's the black, some more phthalo blue. That's a lot. My brush was really dry and the paints were sticky, so it grabbed a lot. Some more water on that. So again, if you just hold it right above, see, there's barely any color there. But if I were to paint, there's plenty in my brush. I just want to make sure there's not too much, because right now I'm using a large brush and I just want to put some small indicators of trees back here. And I could have done this when it was dry, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Let's paint this tree, and we're going to want something that's like kind of like a blue umberish color. I'm just going to, I'm not even gonna worry about it. This is bluish, and we're gonna get something that resembles umber. Like, oh, I don't know. That says PBR 7. Let's go with that. See? Like a blue umberish color. There we go. So I just put some, most likely raw umber. Get some more. Because that tree back there, I mean, it's not really, I need more blue in this. I'm just making a mess. I don't want black. I definitely want it leaning more blue. It's fine. Let's just go with that. We don't need to fuss over it too much. Okay. So this tree, it's going to come down like this. Actually, let's wet it first. I want some, this is still in the background. We don't want a bunch of hard lines down here. So we're just going to wet this. We're going to wet it. And let's bring a root over here. I'm going to look where this starts to come out. There's going to be a branch that will come over, and there is going to be green painted here. So I'm going to actually skip a bit. So if you see me skip and it looks weird, that's why. Bring that up off over here. Up in here, it kind of gets lost in the foliage of this tree that's closer to us. So now that we have that, let's just drop in some color here. See what we get on this tree. Look at that. I love core. It's just kind of painting itself. And you'll notice I'm kind of sticking on the left side of my tree as I come up and drop in this color, because my moon is going to really, even though this is back further, my moon is going to illuminate part of this. So this being very wet on wet. Oh, this has a branch that's going to like right here. Just going to let the, and then it's going to let it kind of dance off on its own. That's a little, I know when it dries it'll be lighter, but I'm just going to take it like that. 'That. 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 ' I'm going to stop about there. This should paint all the way to the edge, but I'm going to kind of, that's about it. I want to keep it darker on this side. So far, I'm liking that tree. In the crotch of the tree here, I'm just going to add some more dark value. And this kind of divides. So this tree separates here. That's not wet. So you notice I stopped getting that softness that I've had going on. And this is going to come off. Should be careful. I'm putting my hand like on my painting. I don't have to go further than that because that green is going to come into play there. Now that this is wet, I can come back and tap on this left side. And again, I'm going to put a little extra in the crotch of where those two branches are kind of split off. And I'm going to tap in more dark on this side. I'm not dropping a lot of moisture into this space because I don't want to push a bloom. Although if I do, you know, I do, it's fine. It's not going to be the end of the world. And immediately, do you guys say phrases and then immediately like the song is stuck in your head? Because right now my brain is got, well, I probably shouldn't tell you, especially if it happens to you. But it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. And now if that's stuck in your head too, you're welcome. Oh, Lord. So again, while this is wet, I'm just, you see, I'm just dabbing color, but look at that tree. I am loving that tree so far. Ugh, love it. Love it. And this needs to come up. We need to do some more work over here. We've got a branch that's going to take itself off over this way and just kind of get lost back there into that other tree. But remember, in front is going to come some other branches. I'm going to come back, drop some more. And we get some other little, some branch activity going on back here. Perhaps there's another one over here. I know that the other one is going to disappear into the other tree right there. I'm just going to clean my brush for a second. I just want to wet this area where it comes up so that again, I'll have that soft edge coming to the other side. I'm going to pull that over just like that. It is 60 degrees here, Cat's Art Picks, which is perfect as far as I'm concerned. I can add branches up here after. I'm going to wait until I get this one done. This paper was quite damp, so I can still keep working. I'm working damp into wet now, so it's not going to travel as much. So this is a good time for me to put darks in where I'm going to want them. I'm just working that area where I put the branch through that space. And then I can lift down. There we go. Again, I'm coming back with more of the dark in the crotch of where those two meet. There we go. I'm like, we're getting into the last couple weeks of August. So this time of year is either, it's crapshoot, because it's either going to be like Hades and we're going to get hit with some really warm weather, or it's going to start to feel like fall is snapping in, which I love. Okay. Look at that. Please drop me a comment. If we don't get this finished, because if I go longer, it would only be a half an hour. I'm only going to go till about 5:30. If we don't get this finished by 5:30, do you guys want to see this finished next week? I rarely ever go 3 weeks on a painting. But if you want to see this finished, because this is definitely one that you could absolutely watch the different parts. I will have all the quick navigation, so you could come back and watch them. And you could paint along with this lesson. It is absolutely going to be real. Obviously, it's real time. And with the power of YouTube, you can click that little cogwheel and you can speed it up. I might sound like a chipmunk, but don't worry, I don't mind if you don't. Make it look like that branch is coming off of that one. And this, not this tree here. Let's give that a little more definition. So yeah, drop me a comment and let me know. Hi, Day by Day Christine. So let me know if we don't finish by 5:30. Do you want to see this finish next week? I'm going to leave that be. If we need to darken it up, we will. All right, in a moment, we're going to paint this one. And we're going to paint this a little different. We're going to start and we're going to paint it really light, because the way we did that wet and wet for this tree, we're going to do wet and wet on this one for the trunk. To really get some of that nice blending like this, we're going to mix our colors up ahead of time. Let's go ahead and paint this one first, because I'm right-handed and I will keep sticking my hands in it. First thing I need to do is clean off my palette. So this tree, our little mushrooms in our little fantasy scene here, the little mushrooms look like they're glowing. Pretty soon, oops, I had some bleed proof white on my palette right there. That's right, I still have some. Our little mushrooms, the way we're going to paint them, this foreground is going to start to look like it glows a little bit. And so for this tree and for part of this tree, that one, oh wait a minute, that one paints differently. Yeah, so this one's going to be a little lit on the side. But remember, this is further back. This one that is closest to us, it's going to look like our mushrooms are glowing. And so the way that we're going to paint it is going to be very different for the foreground. Remember we put these lights in here last week? We're going to get these trees in because this is going to give us our dark for our foreground. Then we can kind of balance things out and get this area painted in. I don't know if this will take longer than 5:30, but George says I would watch a third week on this one for sure. Finish next week for sure, says Virginia. Okay, so you guys keep letting me know in the comments if that's something you want, because I'm loving this painting so far, and I would much rather take my time and really show you guys that you can paint this. You just gotta kind of take it slow, versus rushing it along. And yeah, so still using my size 10 round because I'm going to drop this water. I'm going around those mushrooms, and we are going to just kind of wet what would be the trunk of our tree. And you see here, this is part of our root system in our line work that we did. So I want to wet that, but I'm going to be careful when I wet it, because remember, this this graphite is water soluble. I think that was a piece of masking. This graphite is water soluble, so I don't want to do too many harsh brush strokes over this area, because I'll make my lines disappear, and I'm going to need those in a moment. All right, so it kind of comes down. There's a mushroom. This mushroom is slightly in front of that tree, so I'm going to be careful not to touch where that mushroom is. We are going to paint around that for sure. Wet this tree. Now I'm looking. So I have lines where it comes off here, and you'll see that in the line art. That's letting me know that this area is highlighted. So I'm going to bring this out. Oops, I get too much water there. I don't want to push a bloom into this. And see, that was one of the things I started to tell you why I switched from the Paul Rubens. You see the blooms that happened up here. I was finding with the Paul Rubens on this paper, so on the cotton paper, if I got water anywhere near what I had already put down, it pushed a bloom. And knowing that I was going to come back and like do some negative painting and then come back and paint over, I didn't want those for this. These are my core paints. You'll see this where I just wet this space. As that soaks into the paper, it should not push a bloom out. It should just keep that water where I put it. And that paint behind it should stay. And that's why I switched. Different paints will act differently on different papers. And so far, I am going to have a complete review on those 5th gen Paul Rubens paints. But I can tell you, just a little spoiler, that so far, in my opinion, I like them on cheaper paper. I say cheaper paper, not that that's a bad thing. I like them on cellulose paper versus cotton paper. There's nothing wrong with blooms. I didn't worry about this because we're going to paint over that area, and this is about to get really dark up in here, so it wasn't a problem. But that's why I didn't go with Paul Rubens this week. And I really want to love this painting. So I really wanted something that was going to be, this is Naples Yellow Deep. So this is going to be PBR 24, I believe that is. It's one of the brand new colors from Core. Look at that. That's going to show some light. Anyways, I wanted paint that I knew I was going to know what it was going to do. I could trust what it was going to do. When I put it down, I knew I would get exactly what I wanted on this paper. That's why I switched up and went with Core. I'm grabbing some Titan Buff. We're going to blend those together because I want a glow, but I don't want super yellow. So I'm just grabbing some Titan Buff. Okay, I have another finish next week. Joseph just says finish it. I don't know. He could be talking about today or he could be talking next week. Just teasing. I'm pretty sure you mean next week. All right, I'm going to put this down on the areas where my tree is highlighted. And this is still a little bit, that's still a little bit too yellow than for what I want. I'm grabbing more of the Titan Buff. And I think we're going to neutralize this down a little bit. Where is that? Grabbing just a pinch of that umber. That's better. That's better. Now, if you're not comfortable using a size 10 round to do these fine little portions here, don't grab yourself a smaller brush. Grab a 4 if that's what you need. Grab a 2 if that's what you need. Use what you are comfortable with. But the point on this brush, absolutely, I mean, that point lets me get into all those little spaces. Right from Mortal Kombat. Oh my gosh. Finish him. I get that deep voice that comes on in Mortal Kombat at the end of the battles when you're about to win. All right, and we're going to go right up the right. Again, I'm going to spritz this. All right, I'm going to spritz my tree because I put the water on it, but I want, and if any texture happens back here, we don't mind. It doesn't matter. But I want to keep a soft edge and I want to keep this flowing. I'm going to avoid, and I'm going to make sure that my little mushroom cap here, I'm just going to tap this to make sure if I spritz and I got that wet, that it's dry and it won't spread into my mushroom. Right, so we're going to put this up this side of our tree. We're going to go right up the right side. We have under here, because there's highlight. Under here, there's highlight. Remember, we painted that blue right over, and I said, oh, don't worry about it. It's not going to matter. It really isn't going to matter. I mean, we're going to see some of the blue through here, but again, I'm not freaking out about it. If you're watching this first and then you're going to paint it, maybe avoid your tree or mask that part of your tree and take it off. It's fine. This area gets a lot of highlight, but we'll probably come back in the end and tint some Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof and put that highlight there. So again, I'm not too worried about that part. This is where my branch is going to come off. And I have one that sticks out weird, one that comes up, one that comes over. This one is where it's going to really come out. Right, this one comes out weird. Comes out like this. All right, I'm just going to, this Titan Buff is opaque. So it is going to go over that a bit. This is where that branch comes. And it turns and it goes, it has this like hook and it goes up. And we're going to get a lot of stuff happening right here. And up here, we actually have another one. I may have to put in a little bit of we'll see. I may have to put a little bit of white gouache or Dr. Page Martin's into that to get what I'm looking for, but it's fine. All right. Oh, and back here, before I clean that brush completely and be done with this, there's actually one that comes off. I'm looking at my reference. My line work is gone in this space, so it actually kind of comes like this. Comes around. Ooh, my washi tape is lifting there. I'm gonna make sure that's stuck down. I'll have some weird edge when we peel it. Okay, there we go. Just gonna kind of let that come back there. Thank you, Cat's Art Picks. I am hoping that I am going to love it as well. All right. Again, I got water on my brush coming down the center of my tree because I want this area. We're going to work some darks now. And this is going to be, I'm going back to my raw umber. Look at that brown. Back to that raw umber. And I almost want a sepia color. So what I want to do here is I'm going to pull some of this way. I need more than this because I never mix enough. I want to mix this right. Okay, so I'm pulling this out because we're going to make a variety of colors here. I'm taking my Titan Buff and I'm going to mix that in this end. That's opaque is going to want to push into my color. All right, so there's where I need some highlight come in. You saw how that pushed, it tried to push into this, part of the color. So if I use that, if I put color down and then I take this and I drop it in, it's going to push that away as well. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the ivory black over here, because if you want sepia, just take a raw umber, mix a little bit of black in, and now you have a beautiful chocolate brown sepia like color. All right, I need this color for back here, the back side of this tree. And I'm going to let you all enjoy the magic of core as I bring this up the edge of this tree and you see it paint itself across. Look at that. I just love when it does that. As we get up here, I'm going to have a branch that kind of goes off my page that way. Now this isn't spreading because we didn't have the water there. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. And I wish you the best with that. All right, I'm also going to bring this right up here because I'm not going to finish it off yet. We're going to just kind of leave that there. This is going to be a mixture up here, but this gets really dark. So we're not going to worry about where that's sitting. In fact, let's just grab a little bit of water and we're going to bring this right to the top of the page. Right up the top of the page. I'm going to come down. And right there, where it meets this branch on the trunk of the tree, we're going to have, I'm going to grab my small brush here. I'm going to grab my size 6 round. I don't want a ton of water on this because I don't want to dilute this. I want this to be as strong as I made it because I want it to push back a little bit in here. See how it that's going to starts pushing backwards. So we're going to just pop that in there and let that be a highlight, and it'll push some of that darker color backwards. And we get a highlight. And it's only doing that because it's got that PW 6:1, that Titan buff in there. There we go. Now the top of my branch, I'm going to stick with this brush for a moment because the top of my branch, let me get this damp again. Top of my branch is dark. Up here in this portion of the tree, it's quite dark. I'm only putting it on the top edge because I want underneath here to stay highlighted. Just bringing it to the top, and right there where the crotch, where the branch meets the tree, see, now we have a highlight that's kind of hit behind it. There's also a highlight coming in, so I can emphasize that. Again, clean brush, dry off the water, come over here, grab some of this mixture, which was that raw umber and Titan buff, and I'm going to shape the underside. Shape that around. I'm like keep leaning. I've probably been off my little window up here for a while, but you know, that's what happens when we get into what we're painting. I'm grabbing more of the Titan buff, bringing that down here more. It's a bit on my brush there, but that's okay. I'm just doing the bottom line of the tree so that we have some highlight there. Okay. And I'm just going to work my way down the tree. Right, that kind of comes in. Now we're going to grab, that's just some of the umber. Let's put some of this in. Just with the very tip of my brush, I'm coming through the center, staying more towards the top side. Okay. We want a little bit in here. Oh, thank you, Dylan. Come on back next week if we haven't finished, and watch us finish it up. I'm going to paint in the top of this one, and you see here, I'm getting just a straight line. It's not moving. It's not moving because that branch wasn't wet. Look at the difference between when the branch is wet, right here, and we do the dark on the top and the light on the bottom versus when it's not wet. That's why I like to wet it and let it kind of paint itself. So again, all we have to do, I don't want my brush soaked, just damp. And I'm going to come along this branch. Okay, I'm going to take my really dark color, just get a tiny bit. I don't need a ton on my brush. I just need a tiny bit on the tip of my brush. This branch is not that big around. I'm going to drop some of that dark in here. And I'm just coming right along. If you guys can't see, let me try to get my hand out of your way. I'm going to come right along the edge. Just wet and wet. That's gonna, now it's just starting to look round. And I don't know if I touched that, if I dropped that there, or I don't know where that's from, but I'm not worried about it. It's going to disappear. Okay, this is going to be nice and dark. I'm just coming back one more time. Underneath that, though, needs to be very light, but I am not going to add, I will add that after. We'll come back and hit that highlight with a little bit of Titan Buff and some Bleed Proof White. But while this is still wet, I don't want to do that because I want that to kind of just sit at the edge. I don't want it to push. And if I use that Bleed Proof White in a wet and wet situation, it will be a bully and it will push right into everything else that we're doing. So now we need to grab a little bit of this. I'm kind of mixing that sepia that we made up and the raw umber. I didn't want too much on my brush, so I tapped it on my tissue here. And this one just kind of comes around, comes down. There's some highlight there. At the same time, you can almost see, I'm just kind of lining where the edge of the tree is, right? Just like that. Because we're going to blend this in and start to get the darker spot before our next branch that came out shows up. Now I want this to be wet again. It's not. So that we can keep working that wet and wet. This is wet, so I have no problem if I just pull down from there. Right? I'm re-wetting this whole section right to the edge. Okay, this is kind of small. I'm going to grab my 8 round. Okay. I should probably have glassine under my hand, but you know, my arm is resting back here. So back here near this edge, I'm not letting this part of my hand touch. I'm coming back in. I want to darken up this edge even more. And I can see here, like, I'm going to have to close that. That's much too bright for this air, for what's going to be in the background. But I can come back and do that later after this tree has dried. I need more ivory black. There we go. Let's run it right back up the edge of the tree. And again, you're going to see it bleed into the tree again because we re-wet that whole space. I want to really get this dark, especially this that goes back here. This is dark up here. This is dark. I'm going to bring this right down. Just whatever's on my brush. You see how that's spreading? All right. I'm going to go back to working on my branches and working my way down. While I have a bigger brush, mix up more color. Ivory black. Raw umber. I'm not going to waste this while it's in my brush. I know this has to keep getting darker. So darker we will go. I'm going to make it look like this section of the tree comes towards us a bit more. So I'm going to kind of darken up in this space here. Almost kind of like in this little triangle. I'm going to let that part of this part of the tree right here come forward. And now that this has dried, I can see that the top of this is really much too light. Got my size 6 so that again, I can just kind of wet this area. Let that kind of blend itself down, just sticking to the top edge. Same here. Just re-wetting that so I can make this one darker as well. All right. Now I'm going to switch my brush. Let's see. That one. This one kind of goes, so this branch kind of goes away from us. I'm going to kind of move it back that way. Kind of let it get lost. We're going to pull some branches out that are going to go behind. Take that dark color. There's a lot, wait a minute, there's a lot of water there. Yeah, there was a lot of water. It's going to kind of like, I'm just letting that do its own thing for a moment. See how it just spidered out? Like, look at where there was water. It just like spidered out on its own. We're just going to go with that, and we're going to take off the branches from there. So there's one that goes like off this way. I'll let it just kind of get lost back there. Let this one kind of come off and go back towards like behind the tree. Right? So it's like it's growing out in that way. There we go. There we go. Oh, I'm loving it. I'm really I'm really liking this so far. Okay. So that kind of comes down. It comes down our tree like this. It comes down onto the tree like this. We have this little like nubby branch. This one, like, it broke off. Something happened. There was a storm. We don't know. It just kind of got broke. What's loud? Oh, you guys are talking about cicadas and stuff. I'm assuming that's what you meant when you said, wow, it's loud. Cicadas can get very loud, if that's what you guys are talking about. I want that to lighten up right there. And then there's another one that kind of comes off and goes, well, we're going to take it because I left this there. We're going to take it right off that part of the page. It's like going this way. And she just kind of stops. It's not really how that one was, but guess what? It is now. It's just broken. So it's just there. But let's have a little bit coming off of it, shall we? Kind of like before. Maybe it comes off towards the back of the tree, right? So it's going out and kind of wrapping that way. You want to be careful because you don't want to make a fat branch. Branches don't get fatter at the end. They get thinner at the end. So if I make one that's a little fat, I always pull it backwards. And that's moving away from us. So I'm just going to tap a little bit of that up. There we go. Good enough. But I do want our lighter. I reactivate that. Right? We're going to have that glow. We're going to have some glow going on here. Again, it's just like it's broken. It's just hanging out there. There's a little piece. She's broken. She's broken. Storm that took that one off, took the edge of this one off. All right. And we need to darken some of this up now. This is not the brush to do that with. Oh, hopefully at the end it has a little less spooky feel, like we like this is like our preemptive spooky season painting and more like summer and night enchanted summer evening painting. Hopefully it gets less like that and more. Yeah. Well, thanks for sticking around with us, Cats Are Picks. I appreciate it. You have a great evening too. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of pull. I'm barely touching my brush because I want to get some variation. And if I hold my brush on its side and just kind of try to skip the belly of the brush along my paper, I'm going to get some nice bark-like texture because I'm going to hit the tooth of the paper. So let me just bring that up close so you can see that. See the texture that you get? It starts to look a lot like the bark of a tree. All right. And oh, we have underneath where this little mushroom kind of pokes in, we're going to make sure we put a little bit of extra shadow cast on the tree there from our mushroom. That will make more sense once our mushroom appears. I'm going to have more shadow down in here. Just going to keep building this. Layer it up a little bit. Oh, I'm like, yesterday I was having all these ideas. Of course, did I write them down? No. But I was having all these ideas for like spooky season and fall and getting into, I don't even want to say the CH word that happens in December. But I started thinking of all these things. I'm like, oh, that would be so neat. That'd be so much fun. And then it'll get here and I'll be like, what was I going to do? What did I have in mind? I didn't want to say the C word, you guys. You know, you would have been like, the what? Excuse me, the what? I thought this was a family show. Dolphin Soul says, I'm etching fake pumpkins as I watch this. Oh my gosh. If you guys have not seen Dolphin Soul's pumpkins, yeah, you need to check out her website, which is if I'm correct, dolphinsoulcreations.com. Right? Just let me know in the comments if I'm correct or not. It's not going to let you post a link, but it will let Joseph post a link, or Tara can post a link to dolphinsoulcreations.com. If you guys haven't seen Carissa, who is Dolphin Soul Creations, if you have not seen her work, I encourage you to check it out. She does some really cool stuff. All right, I want to wet, because this is actually, this space actually comes like, it's like a big root that's coming at us, but this is rounded this way. So we're going to bring this down and we're going to wet this area, and just like before, we want it to feel like it's rounded like this. So just like before, we're going to come in with some of our dark. If I can pick up this dark that I have left, I'm going to have to mix up more anyway. And we're going to let that kind of grow up around the space. It's a little bit of dark on this side. We've got to maintain the highlight. I'm just going with it. I think that this is a little too dark right there. This kind of isn't, this root, like if you pull something down too far and it's not how the reference photo was, so what? It doesn't matter. Just work with it, right? I'm going to picture if this root is coming at me this way and this root's going to come over that way, I need some darkness in between the two, right? Because like Mr. Ross used to say, you cannot have light without dark. So we have to pull, let's just pull some of this out a little, maybe a little differently. Right now I'm actually like looking up at my monitor. Yeah, like maybe that little mushroom that I did, maybe that comes behind this part of the tree. And we're going to bring that like this. All right. And we can put the grass over it after the fact. That's fine. And see here where I was like, oh, maybe I got a little too strong with that. All I'm doing is working my brush back and forth and pushing that back a little bit. And now I have that section of the tree coming out. Now I can pull this down. There we go. And that's fine. There. I'm still not quite thrilled about the angle this is taking, but there we go. Good enough. Good enough. Remember, I have a lot of Titan buff over here, so I'm going to be careful how much of that way I go. And here's a firefly. I can see my masking fluid. So guys, if I wait till next week, you're going to see what happens when you leave masking fluid on your paper for 2 weeks, because I will do it just to show it to you. Without the typo. There we go. Yeah, without the typo. Sorry, Tara. Sorry. Your fingers betrayed you. Oh, you are so welcome. And I'm just going to put Joseph's up there. So that's it. For those of you who are watching, just ignore the typo part. We missed the N in dolphin the first time. Just working some of this that I have left so I can just kind of build up. I need to... First, I need to get my point back on my brush. What do I have in my hand again? I have the 8 round. That's fine. I have to get the edge of my tree where it comes under. Oops, I didn't mean to lift it off there. This looks a little weird the way this branch grew, but hey, you know what? I bet you there's a tree out there somewhere that looks like that, so I'm not going to let it bother me. All right, so it is 5:30. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish working on this tree here, and then we will go ahead and pause for this week. And we will come back again next week. And I think we should, because I'm not going to get more stuff in the studio and show it to you and use up the first 45 minutes of our time talking about other things. We are going to dive right in and we are going to paint it. And this might have to be one that I put together, that I pull all the pieces of the actual painting and put it together for those of you who are patrons, so you don't have to watch all the different pieces. I can just pull it together in one video for you. So that's something I might do that. So if that's something that interests you, if you are a channel member or a patron, please let me know. Because I don't think once it's all finished that it would be hard to edit that into a separate video where, hey, you could just paint along without all the others. Oop, look at that. I went to paint right over that mushroom that I said, let's be careful. We have a mushroom here. Okay. I want this part of the tree a little bit darker. There's actually a branch. I'm debating if I want to put it. It comes at us right here. It's going to come at us like, I'm going to try to negatively paint it in here. And just put this under. Isn't that dark? Are you scared? I'm not scared. I'm not scared as I lift it out. All right, I'm a little scared. There's a lot of paint in that brush. Let me grab this first. I can put this in. I'm going to give it a try because why not? It's like all of a sudden right here, there's like this one little broken branch. It just kind of comes at you. So we're catching some highlight on that. Like that. And I'm going to let it be right there. I think I like it. I don't have any of my brush holders up here today. Now let's take some of this and let's put some marks around this so we can see that, hey, now I'm negatively painting around the branch so that that branch will stick out. And we're going to come around, like picture a knot on a tree. See how suddenly that branch just jumped out at us? Oh my goodness. Yeah, guys, again, apologies about the ads. And if you're watching on the replay, you know, there's always some ads on the replay because one of the perks for being here live is that you shouldn't have to see the ads because I don't show ads during my live stream. I only show them during the replays. So that's another perk for being here live and hanging out with me and watching what we're doing. So my apologies today. I will figure out what happened and I will find how I get that shut back off because I know I did it. I clicked the wrong thing real fast before the stream started and I shouldn't have. Yeah. I'm reading Cadmium Red Feral Kitten's message. There we go. Now that just kind of looks like a little branch that broke, but it's catching the light because it's coming at us. I didn't add any of the greenery in here. This is going to get really dark. This needs to really darken up. So yeah, that's coming. We've got layers. I feel like Shrek right now. We're going to have lots of layers as we darken things up. And I think that as we do that, this is going to look so much brighter, right? Because again, we can't have light without the dark. We need all of this to get so much darker, and then that is going to glow so much in that background, which is just going to pull us right into our right into our painting. And now when I'm pulling some of these lines down, I'm remembering my branch is round. So you see me, I'm kind of pulling around when I do these right here where this branch is kind of coming off the tree. And I'm going to darken up behind it. Kind of give that some more separation there. I went up a little further than I wanted to with that dark. So just clean brush, wiggle that right back in and push it back. There we go. There we go. I am liking the way these are coming out. And once we get the mushroom caps in, if I need to glaze a yellow over this to warm it up, I can absolutely do that. Sounds like the other Terra has gotten really lucky, and some of the rest of you have not gotten so lucky with it wanting to show you ads. Or maybe it goes, I think you are more easily influenced. Let me show you some advertisement. I have no idea. Again, I'm trying to use the side of my brush, a little bit of dry brushing just to catch the texture of that paper and to pull that up. This is going to grow right into the grass. I'm not going to worry too much about that, but I definitely want more ivory black. Okay, if I could really get some on there. It'll go from not enough to, oh my gosh, that was way too much. And now what I'm doing is I'm looking at my monitor as I start to paint this in, because I want to see, like, where do I want this to get darker? There we go. And now I don't want a hard line there, right? Because we're going to be painting grasses and stuff like that up to it. So just coming back with a clean, damp brush. Kind of push a little bit of that back up in there. There we go. Wipe that brush off. Just kind of blend those two areas together. Look at that. She's shaping up. All right, we're gonna go like, that's really bold. I don't want it that dark. What happened was there was too much water in my brush, so it was flooding off my brush and pushing too much. But if I pull most of that water out, again, you see, I've got brown on my brush, but when I'm touching here, this tissue is not getting color on it because it's just wicking the water out, but not the color. So now when I come in here, I have so much more control of what I'm putting down and where. Okay. Oh, this guy back here, we need to darken him up before we go. And that's where we'll leave it. And if we need to darken our tree up later, we will. So I'm going to come in again and wet this branch. And this branch is coming from behind the tree. So it's not going to come into that space. And I want some of this ivory black. So again, we went a little bit more than I was planning on, but Thank you for those of you who are still here sticking with me. I appreciate you. Don't touch the tree. So again, I'm going to come along the top. My highlight is on the very bottom. Like the light is coming through between this space and it's just catching the bottom of that branch. From our vantage point, we're looking kind of this way and we're going to catch that. Just the highlight at the bottom. And again, if I need to come back and put that highlight in afterwards, I absolutely can. It actually has like this branch splits off. Let's go ahead and just do it. Yeah, we're going to split it like that. Why not? So I'll be using the same paint next week. I'll be using my core watercolors. And as soon as I have time to sit down and be able to hit record on some more videos, we will have some more regular format videos coming out. I have taken a little bit of a break from my mix series. It's not necessarily going away. I've just had to pause because my schedule has gotten crazy. So I am still working on my downstairs space. Once I have that all taken care of, I'll be able to record more because I'll be able to record down there during the day. Right now, I'm not able to get up to my studio during the day, and that's why our videos have kind of changed. I'm not liking this one little dark mark here. I think we need to have a little bit more of that through this spot of the tree. It's just going to darken up a little bit more right there. Again, just tapping. I want this to kind of subtly blend around. This is a big tree. This is like an oak or a maple. It's going to have, its bark could be, it looks kind of smooth in our reference photo. If it was, oh my gosh, which one has the chunkier bark? Now I can't remember if the oak or the maple. We have maples in our backyard, but I can't remember if the oak or the maple has chunkier bark. I'll have to ask Blue. Do one of you guys know? One of them has a chunkier bark. Anyways, regardless, it's a big tree like that. All right, so we're just going to tap some more down. Again, I'm going to have that mushroom right here. So this, I actually don't want to darken that up because if our mushroom is right there, we're going to get some glow up on our tree because our mushrooms are going to look like they're kind of glowing, right? They're helping illuminate this little space. Yeah, I think we're going to kind of go with that for now. This side, I think, needs a little bit more dark. Not that much more dark. If you do something like that, don't worry about it. I just cleaned my brush, get most of it dried off, and now I can just come through and work that, and now it's not too dark. I want to come down and then I wanted to kind of pull this way. So I'm going to get that angle coming. It's coming at me. And we'll work on any kind of like shadows and stuff like this. We're going to have green grasses down there, so we don't need to get too particular on that yet. Okay. So let's get a closer look. We got our background foliage in. This, again, we only painted part of this tree because we want to be able to put the greenery, the leaves from this tree This branch is going to put in a lot of green here. Then there's some more up here from these branches. We're going to see it kind of under and behind. This branch is going to bring a little bit around the front and into this space. Aside from that, we're going to see like maybe a little bit poking up back here, like back where this is. We're going to put a little bit of green there just because I don't like how that's white. And maybe it's a branch that goes that way and we're seeing just a little bit of green. So that, and it's not going to be a like green. This is going to be like a blue green. We're not going to get some highlight until the underside of it. Again, because the moon is going to capture under the leaves for us. It's illuminating under. And some of that is the glow, right? Some of that is going to be the glow from our mushrooms is illuminating the undersides. So that's how that is. And we are really going to start to see. So I just saw it. I want to catch the messages here. Dolphin Soul says, loving the dimension of this one. It hasn't even started to really pop yet. We've got to get the darks in. And until we get the darks, we're going to get so much more dimension once we can get that in. I can't wait to continue this with you. We will definitely continue. I've never done a project that's actually, I think I have done a 3-part once before, but it's been a very, very long time. But thank you so much for sticking with me. Next time, guys, we're going to get right into painting. We are going to come in, and I think what we're going to do, we have this part of our tree done. I think when we start, we're going to paint this tree here. Again, this one's further. We want this one to look further back than this one. So this has some warm highlights on it. You're going to see this one capture some blue highlight on this edge. What that's going to do is it's going to push that back even further. So you're going to have this tree here. We're going to push back to that one, and then we're going to push back to that one. Then it pushes back to this one, and then it pushes way back in here. And once we get the darks from the foliage of these trees and darken up our foreground here, that's when the magic's going to start to happen. So come back with me again next week. If you've been enjoying this little mini series saga of this, what did we call this? Fireflies and mushrooms in a fantasy woodland forest. If you've been enjoying this, please do hit that like button. And if you're not yet subscribed, I encourage you to do so and ring the bell. Turn on those notifications so that you'll know when we're streaming. I try to do a lot of paint along videos for you guys on Thursdays. I mean, sometimes we do other things, but I have a lot planned. We're just going to take that guy off there because I am not done yet. So I have a lot more planned of paintings, maybe not this in depth of what we have going on here, but let's just like look at that from a distance. Look at where we are so far. I'm like trying to look at the camera to make sure that I am holding it up straight for you guys. And that looks darker on that camera than it actually does for me, but we're starting to get there. We're definitely starting to make progress. And we're going to see Meeden watercolor, 100% cotton watercolor paper with the masking on. It's going to be 2 weeks before we pull this masking off, and I have every confidence that it's going to come off no problem. I'd say if you want to paint this one along with me, you could follow along to this point and be ready to go next week, like be here and paint with me, or you can just wait and see as I make the mistakes and overcome them and get the final painting finished and then paint along. And if you are a patron or a channel member, I think I will afterwards. I think I'll edit this into one video where you can just paint it through. It's going to be a long one because I will keep it real time. So as of right now, you're looking probably an hour and a half in, and however much longer it takes us, maybe I'll release it in 2 parts. I don't know, but you guys can let me know over on Discord what your thoughts are on that. Yeah, aside from that, I'm loving the way this is coming out. I'm loving that trunk, that little Y trunk that's back here. Like I'm really this one. Wait a minute. Boom, right there. I'm liking the dimension that that has on it, the shape that it's got coming up. And I don't think that I don't think this guy's looking too shabby either. So I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're having fun. Both Tara and Joseph, our moderators, have channels. Please check them out. Give them some love. Yeah, I think that's it. Stay tuned this weekend. I'll be doing some behind the scenes stuff as I'm out painting with my fellow YouTubers. And I'll share that with you on Discord. So again, you can get access to Discord for just $2.99 a month. Click join below, and all you have to do is become a super fan, and you'll have access to all the behind the scenes content and stuff like that. So I hope you'll join us over there. If you were gifted a membership today, please make sure that you connect the YouTube channel that received the gifted membership to your Discord, and then you'll have access automatically. The little bot will put you right in there. So until next time, my friends, keep creating. Now we'll pop this little guy up. If you're watching on the replay, I'm going to put another video up right there that you might like to watch next. In the meantime, keep creating, and I'll see you in a video real soon. Bye, guys.